Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
It's 3 a.m. and the sirens are going off. Another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. A 100 boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Well, most of us, we made it home, but we never came back. When we close our eyes at night, we hear a rocket attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. We ain't far from Kandahar. In Kandahar.
Then you're going to come down to the stables and you'll start working with the horses, and it's nothing mandatory. Like our first session, we got out here and we just started grooming a horse. Patrick showed us how to groom a horse, and it was just fun. And as we're grooming a horse, we're telling our story.
You get to see
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former interns tossing me down a bottomless That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Oh, yeah. Break COVID some. That's right. Yeah. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence. Man, on this 6th April 2020, my teammate got freaking my wingman, my man in the turret, my lens cap, my PAO. He got called to go do some stuff. What's up with that shit? Man, I'm not a first sergeant, Art. So I got shipwreck with me, man in the guns. Whoop, whoop, yeah. I just can't believe it. We got stuff moving and shaking, and people were leaving, and a bunch of crap, man. It's a lot of stuff. So welcome to WTF Nation Radio's Monday edition. Again, broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Behooving Center of Quarantined Excellence. Just thought I'd shoot that out there. How are you guys doing? Man, it is one. No PT. That wasn't Toby Keith. I'm sorry. That was up by you, Ben. That's my bad. No PT belts, of course, unless you are conducting physical activities outside. Yeah, again, Jose's on assignment again. You notice that? Yeah. Talking about the Jose again. That's crazy, man. He's out fighting cruise ships. Yeah, really. At any rate, no PT. But however, we're already starting to see. Okay, so what's up, Marshall? We've had individuals that the Army blasted out. Well, let me take that back. We blasted out at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. We blasted out their the COVID updates, and these COVID updates. Don't ask why. Just you get the updates. These are from. This is from JTF WTF. We are now combining forces with U.S. Navy WTF Moments. Can't wait to see what's up with them. There was just some stuff that we were talking about. So now the JTF of the WTF, it's U.S. Space Force WTF Moments, U.S. Navy WTF Moments, and then, of course, U.S. Army WTF Moments. All together, grabbing it around, kind of like joining one big happy party. You can relate, right, Shipwreck? I mean, it's just like we're getting more, we're kind of like, I don't know, expanding the tentacles, Hail Hydra type shit, you know what I'm saying?
Gotta grow the family.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta grow the family. Exactly that. That's exactly that. We're growing the family. There you go. That's the best way to put it. We're growing the family. Hell, we'll adopt you. We'll freaking, whatever. But I will say this: that has been interesting. A lot of interesting things going on. Bailey, hey, what's up? What's everybody? Oh, I got to give my greetings in the chats. What's up, Michael? What's up, Josiah? What's up, Tyler? What's up, Tina? What's up, Recruiter Times? What's up, Douk? But at any rate, yeah. Okay, so each of these updates that we provide for you are provided from specific individuals that are amongst the Department of Defense. I don't think they want us. They don't want us to get close. They don't want us to expand on some of the things. But too late, too bad, too tough shit. We're going to give you guys and gals everything that we can of all the latest news, of course, discussion, commentary, and opinion. So the latest COVID update. This is COVID-19 update for today. Frago 18 has been the latest Frago. Okay, so Frago 19 was pending release and will cover Space Age travel, which onboarding processes for DA civilians and guidance on military funerals and all that. The SecDef published guidance. Now listen up, okay? The SecDef published guidance on the wear of masks for personnel use in uniform. Now, there will be Army guidance. Of course, the Army's got to, come in there. The Behoovosphere is already acting up. The Behoovosphere is already moving in. They're talking about Army guidance coming out tomorrow for color and wear of the masks. Please do not use old uniforms for this purpose, because everybody knows that the Operational Combat Pattern OCP ACU, every the new combat pattern, the new camo, that's still an ACU. Everyone like the digital pattern, that's the Universal Combat Pattern. It's still called the Army Combat Uniform. So I don't want to fucking pick pepper out of fly shit, but that drives me up the wall when people say, well, that's just the name of it. Oh my God, you know what? Fucking you ain't lying. Facebook is like literally recording everything. I didn't know this. Oh my God.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't. I just noticed that they're pick pepper. I even right pick pepper out of fly shit. They're muting my stuff. No wonder. Okay, guys, let me tell you a story right quick. Not really a story. I've said this before. Is that Facebook was dinging us and muting some of my broadcasts, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And Facebook said that that's not your voice. So you're using copyrighted material. You need to get express permission from that. Well, who is it? It's a person that's talking. You're using recorded voices, Ken Ramos. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's me. I mean, it's kind of like, see right there. There it goes again. See, like, oh my gosh. See? Can you guys see that stuff? Can you guys see the I mean, let me hang on. I did not know. This is some BS. Let me go up in here and
it's all that AI technology.
Yeah, it's all that AI tech. There you go. Let me turn off the auto-generated captions. There you go. It's been shut off. There you go. Bam. You only knew the power
of the force.
Yeah. Give you
of the group one.
Yeah, exactly. Holy crap. There we go. Shut it off. I shut them off. Okay, so now you no longer have to see the behoovednesses. Okay, so thank you very much for bringing back around here to this tangent shipwreck. Anyways, so leave it to the Army to start throwing stuff out. So I got some friends that were asking me, hey, Ice, what are we going to do for what's this? What's the specific, what can we wear? There was no regulation that was said specifically on what the guidance was for the masks. So there's individuals out there already wearing like bras, pieces of bra cups and stuff like that. There's already people wearing some, SpongeBob cutouts and shit like that. I think it's hilarious. Well, someone sent me a picture of what they're already doing at Fort Bragg, and some of my buddies out there in that community are already showing me what they're wearing around. I guess look at that. They're even wearing the proper They're wearing the proper shirt. I like that. I like uniformity. That's pretty cool. I like seeing that shit. They're even wearing, and of course, I wouldn't recommend you rolling through the gate at any installation looking like Durka like that. I mean, you could say that's adhering to the Fort Bragg mask policy or the Fort Hood, but if you do that, be careful, because I don't want you. I love you guys and gals. I don't want you guys to go ahead and get hemmed up and get pulled over and get interviewed and get waterboarded. Remember, it's only waterboarding. It's not waterboarding if you use diesel. So be careful out there. Don't go too crazy and start busting that shit out. But again, everyone's talking about cloth masks won't help the spread of the cooties. Everyone's saying, look, again, that's what's happening. So the Army, in its infinite wisdom, of course, is going to put out a guidance on this for this COVID update. Now, again, look, sorry, that's just what they're going to do. Once it comes out, then it's going to happen.
So their update comes out tomorrow.
The Army's update will tomorrow. Don't worry, we'll probably laugh at it too.
Is the Army a little behind though? Didn't the Marine Corps come out with what to do first?
No, the Marine Corps?
Regulation?
No,
Yeah.
hell no, dude.
You didn't hear about it?
No, whoa. What was that? No, go ahead. Enlighten me.
Yeah, the Marine Corps came out with the diagrams and everything, and use your old shirts to make a mask, and with measurements and what colors it has to be. You didn't hear that?
No, dude. Well, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it that the Marine Corps would automatically start yudding and rah and oorah to all my friends up in the Marine Twitter up there. We got Twitter up, we got Mixer up, we got YouTube's up, we got all of our platforms up.
They actually got a diagram with measurements and a picture of a scissors, so you know where to cut.
So there's a lot of damning going on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wait until the Army. You know, we're gonna see how this is gonna happen. But already our inbox at U.S. Army WTF moments, and I got some PMs and DMs and stuff like that. People already starting to show their stuff. So like I said, I got a friend of mine who sent me that, and like I said, I was impressed as hell that individual was already wearing a WTF Nation Radio T-shirt. Look at that! Look at that! Look, styling with that shirt on. Old school shirt right there. That's what I'm talking about. I think we can make some more of that stuff. Anyways, you don't want to use you don't want to use the old uniforms because there is an insecticide that's been integrated into the cloth of the OCP ACU. So you don't want to put that shit on your face because you'll be sucking an insecticide, and then you might have to the Army's gonna, the DA. I've been like dealing with lawyers a lot today and lobbyists, man. Yeah, service connected.
Not service.
That's what I'm saying. It's not service connected. You sucking in those freaking insecticide fucking uniforms. So anyways, now there's been a little bit of a change on the permethrin. Thank you. There is a basic guidance on a stop move at this time, which is if you were a stop move window between March and 11 May, then you can expect to have 60 days added to your report date to get your movement date. If your report date falls outside of the stop move window, you can expect your move without original orders. So soldiers can voluntarily request to defer to the report date, and the DoD will exceed max capacity for moves this summer. Therefore, some report dates may be adjusted if not voluntary requests are submitted. If not enough voluntary requests are submitted. DoD will not make a decision if the stop move will be extended or until later this month. Guarantee it for right now. Once all the moves happen, then everyone's PCSs and household goods stuff is going to kick back on, and there's going to be a mad dash to come out. If, of course, due to the spread of the virus, shipping to basic training, BCT, basic combat training, will be temporarily suspended as of today. And then you don't have to worry about that stuff.
What are they going to do with all the basic trainees that
the little knobby little privates are going to be there doing details, keeping their social distance, painting rocks or something like that, mowing some lawns or
and not enjoy the getting screamed at, yelled at, PT. They just regular privates walking around.
Right. Well, of course not. I mean, do we need PT belts for that? Is that what you're saying? And no, we don't. Actually, there's someone that said they're going to make a PT belt mask to make fun of CSMs and their sergeant majors, their command sergeant majors. There's already people talking and laughing.
I'll buy one of those and wear it.
Well, a reflective belt mask.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if someone wears that. Some CSM's going to go, that's a good idea. I think we should wear that. Cav, whatever. Why are they paying new recruits who haven't been to boot camp yet? Because they're right now getting them involved into the system, and they're going to get them on their start date, enrollment date, and then they're going to be expected to take off, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's the same thing when you go to reception. I mean, it's kind of like delaying it a little bit. You might be, that's just the way to do it. They're going to have to do that right now, and that seems to be, Michael, the only way they can knock that out. I was going to suggest to our J1 that there's another Ask Me Anything to get all that information out, so that way we can get the because there needs to be another Q&A like we did last time. There's going to be a digital town hall tomorrow, I think at 11:30. Hang on, let me look at my notes.
Your Rolex there.
My Rolodex. So tomorrow at 11:25 Eastern Standard Time, the Army is going to have a virtual town hall. I recommend everybody to be there. I know I'm going to be there. I know the main page is going to be there. It is at 11:25 a.m. and the Secretary of the Army, Chief of Staff of the Army, and Sergeant Major of the Army is going to be there in attendance. And so if there's any questions you want to drop, just drop it in the main page inbox and message us and say, hey, I got questions for the Secretary of the Army. I got questions for the Sergeant Major of the Army. that would be the place to do it. You Twitter followers, you could do the same thing. You could just drop it into the inbox at U.S. Army WTF Moments, or you can hit at the WTF Nation to get it to those admins right there, or you can hit the WTF SAR Major, and he'll get information out. WTF6 will probably get some information out too, and I'm just there, just collecting popcorn and just here for the comments. Exactly that, trying to prevent DEP losses. 30th AG Center of Excellence. So tomorrow, it's going to be tomorrow, April 7th at 11:25. And then, it'll be pretty easy. It'll be fun. Every town hall that we've had have been pretty eventful. I don't think there's anybody that's going to have any complaints about, the the way it's going to happen. Come on, we'll get you guys squared away. Free range, non-CMO, and gluten-free private. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Trying to prevent DP losses. So anyways, okay. So yes, I see that. I am getting inundated. Am I going to talk about the what happened with the Navy? I guess this can't wait for Sergeant's time. Oh. Because everyone's going to freak out about. So if you guys don't know right now, the Navy captain Brett Crozier was relieved of duty of the USS Theodore Roosevelt. Right, everybody knows about that. Check out some of the pages and all that. Check out Task and Purpose. They got an article up for us that they did to throw some love. The secretary, the acting secretary of the Navy, relieved him. They relieved him. Apparently, now this is, mind you, there's an investigation pending right now, going through. Apparently, there was an email that was sent out. We talked about this already about he sent out an email
about the math emails.
Well, yeah. He sent out an email, and then he sends he sends out the email saying, "Hey, look, I got this going on, blah 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 blah," and he sent it to like 20 people or something like that. Well, he didn't send it out to anybody in the media, but those individuals on that email list did. And immediately, everyone started freaking out, and they was like, "Oh, jump in the chain of command," and blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, that's not really what happened, but okay. We've seen emails. I mean, the letter was leaked to the San Francisco Chronicle, and it outlined pretty much the conditions that happened aboard the aircraft carrier. This is according to our friends over at Task and Purpose. In a quote, he said, "We're not at war. Sailors don't need to die, and if we do not act, then we're failing property to take care of our most trusted asset, our sailors." So, Acting Secretary of the Navy Thomas Modley said that he was being removed Thursday, for creating a panic, even though we talked about the governor of Guam allowing him to come on to help square it away. Well, dude, now, and like the ultimate, oh shit, I told you so, that captain he just tested positive for COVID. He just got the coronavirus. He got the Rona. And we're like,
Has that major cough now?
Yeah, everyone's like, did you kind of like realize that was like the biggest? You might have been premature in this stuff, that you shouldn't have not removed him from duty. So he tested positive for COVID-19. He began exhibiting symptoms and was removed from the warship on Thursday. And then 2 of his classmates from the Naval Academy and members of his family kind of got the information. So he got fired. Of course, D. Treasy threw in his comment saying that, I thought it was terrible what he did. And to write a letter, this isn't a class on literature. This is a captain of a massive ship that's nuclear powered. He shouldn't be talking. He shouldn't be talking that way in a letter. Yeah, that's the last thing you need to be saying, D. Treasy. Have you seen your tweets? Just saying. Pot calling, kind of black. But, I'm just saying. Have you seen his have you seen his letters? Have you seen his letters? Have you seen his tweets? I'm not bashing the president, but I'm just saying, dude, before you start throwing out the hypocrisy out, then all the liberals will be like, "Oh my God, ICE is liberal." No, hang on. As W would say,
facts are facts, right?
ICE would never be a liberal. He's a W.
But wasn't that officer looking out for his shoulders? His shoulders.
His sailors. You mean? They don't have soldiers. They don't have. They have sailors. So yeah.
Sailors and seamen. Yeah.
Yeah, sailors and seamen. Did you have to throw that one in there? Hey. He's looking out for. They have his soldiers and seamen.
Isn't that part of their responsibility?
Sort of, kind of, that goes in with that leadership stuff. The last time I checked, that's the leadership stuff, not leadership. And so his last time I checked, I think he did a pretty good job with his decision to say that he was having an issue, there was a problem, and all that. Well, there's even more drama. But wait, there's more. There's even more drama. And what really sucks is that this time the Secretary of the Navy got involved, got on the fucking mic on the ship, like he went out to go visit the ship.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And he went on.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he got on the ship and then started talking about this. Now, I'll be honest with you, it goes for a minute. What do you think, guys? Gals, do you guys want to hear it? Do you guys want to hear what he said, and then we can just sit back and listen to the popcorn and then what do you think? You guys go ahead and give me some love, or give me some thumbs or something to say if you guys want to hear what he's got to say, because it's a long, drawn out written statement, but I think it doesn't have enough impact that hearing it. When you hear it and you're like, whoa, I've never heard any cabinet level individual speak of somebody who has been relieved from command. You always hear about somebody getting relieved. You always have that senior leader that goes, yep, well, there was a bad thing that happened, blah, blah, blah. It's unfortunate. All we could do is move on and blah, 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 right? There was a...
Yeah, it's normally 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can go, yeah, well, we can move on with this and sail high seas or sail off into sunset, whatever Navy guys and gals do. No, he didn't do this. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and play what he said, excerpt of it, and then we'll see what he's got. So.
Oh, I got tons of questions on this.
Hang on.
I've been wanting to come out to the ship since we first found out you had COVID cases on here. I was actually planning on being here last Tuesday after I went to see the Mercy off in Los Angeles. So I want you to know that no one at my level has been ignoring the situation here from the very beginning. I reached out to your CO through my chief of staff very, very early on in this crisis. On Sunday, I told him that I wanted to come out to the ship, and if it would be okay or if it would be too disruptive. I told him that because I wanted to be able to help if there was anything else he needed as this massive effort was underway to get you guys healthy and clean and safe. He waved me off. He said he felt like things were under control. He had been concerned a day or so before that things weren't moving quickly, but things, he still wanted to get more beds, but he didn't think it was necessary. He also talked to my chief of staff and emailed back and forth with him. On Sunday night, he sent that email. And that email went out to a broad audience of people. I know that I mentioned that it was over 20. We believe it was forwarded to even far more than that. And immediately it was picked up by the San Francisco Chronicle, which published sensitive information about the material condition of a naval warship. If he didn't think, it was my opinion, that if he didn't think that information was going to get out into the public in this information age that we live in, then he was A, too naive or too stupid to be the commanding officer of a ship like this.
What the fuck?
The alternate is that he did it on purpose. And that's a serious violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which you are all familiar with. That message and all the contents in that message was perfectly fine for him to send to people in his chain of command in a confidential way so they could get acting on it. He, in fact, could have given it directly to me through my chief of staff or to me, as I asked him to do when I first reached out to him on the ship, when we first found out that there were COVID cases here. It was a betrayal of trust with me, with his chain of command, with you, with the 800 to 1,000 people who are your shipmates on shore right now, busting their asses every day to do what they need to do, to convert what they do in a normal day, to get you guys off of here, get you safe, get you healthy, get you clean, and get you back on this ship where you're supposed to be. It was betrayal. And I can tell you one other thing. Because he did that, he put it in the public forum, and it's now become a big controversy in Washington, D.C. and across the country about a martyr CO who wasn't getting the help he needed and therefore had to go through the chain of command, a chain of command which includes the media. And I'm going to tell you something, all of you. There is never a situation where you should consider the media a part of your chain of command. You can jump the chain of command if you want and take the consequences. You can disobey the chain of command and take the consequences. But there is no situation where you go to the media, because the media has an agenda. And the agenda that they have depends on which side of the political aisle they sit. And I'm sorry that's the way the country is now, but it's the truth. And so they use it to divide us. They use it to embarrass the Navy. They use it to embarrass you. While you're out here dealing with something that this country hasn't had to deal with in over 100 years. And the world hasn't ever dealt with anything like this on this scale. The American people believe in you. They think of all the people in the world that can keep their shit together in something like this, it's the United States Navy and our sailors. And they're stressed. They may be stressed. They may be tired. They may be scared. But they're keeping their shit together. And they're taking care of each other. And they're taking care of their people on the shore who are busting their ass to get them off this ship. They're not taking shots at them. They're asking, how can we help them? What can we do? How can I help the E3 that works for me? I'm an E4. I'm concerned. What do I do to help the E2s and E3s that are on this ship? That's your duty. Not to complain. Everyone's scared about this thing. But I tell you something, if this ship was in combat and there were hypersonic missiles coming at it, you'd be pretty fucking scared too. But you do your jobs. And that's what I expect you to do, and that's what I expect every officer on this ship to do, is to do your jobs. One of the things about his email that bothered me the most was saying that we're not at war. Well, we're not technically at war, but let me tell you something. The only reason we're dealing with this right now is because a big authoritarian regime called China was not forthcoming about what was happening with this virus. And they put the world at risk to protect themselves and to protect their reputations. We don't do that in the Navy. We're transparent with each other in the proper channels and with each other. And that's what we're supposed to do, and that's what you're expected to do. I got your list of questions. I'm very, very thankful to have gotten them. I know they're all sincere. I don't think there's any agenda in any of those, but there's a lot of them. And I'm going to answer every single one of them, but I've got to do it respectfully, and I've got to take some time so you understand all the nuances of the questions that you're asking, and there's a lot of them here. So rather than answer them all today, I'm going to take them back with me to Washington, and I'm going to answer them. And let me say one other thing. Everything I'm telling you guys right now, I will never, ever, ever throw you guys under the bus in Washington or anywhere else, in the media, anywhere else. And I expect you never to do that to your shipmates either. The ones on the shore right now, who told me that when Captain Crozier's email made it to the San Francisco Chronicle, after working 15-hour days, they were demoralized because they knew what they had been doing for you guys since the 25th of March to get you guys what you need. And the other thing you need to understand is we're in Guam. It's a U.S. territory, but they have their own government and they have their own healthcare problems, and they're scared too, just like every other part of the world. And the governor of Guam has stuck her neck out big time with her own population to say that she is willing to open up hotel rooms all over this country, or this state, this territory, so that sailors from the USS Teddy Roosevelt can go and be safe, because she believes that you all are her brothers and sisters, her brothers and sisters who are protecting this place for her citizens. And so she's willing to put all that at risk to take care of you guys. And she told me today, when Captain Crozier's letter came out in the public, she had to then deal with all her constituents who were saying, holy crap, what's happening? We're going to have 5,000 people with COVID in our city. Care and everything else. So think about that. When you cheer the man off the ship who exposed you to that. I understand you love the guy. It's good that you love him, but you're not required to love him. So I want to share something with you that I read at the Naval Academy graduation in 2018.
Not required to love him, damn.
I sent it to the graduating class, but I'm going to expand it a little bit. I said, as officers and sailors in the United States military, you are given tremendous responsibility to respect and protect those who are placed under your command. The American people entrust you with their sons and daughters, and they place their security and the security of our nation in your hands. Do not expect to be loved by everyone for this, even though it may happen. As Secretary Mattis, my former boss, was fond of saying to us, who were so honored to work with him in the Pentagon, he said, your job is to protect the nation. So I'm going to give you a little bit of advice to make this important and often difficult job far easier on yourselves. My best advice to you is don't ever worry about being loved for what you do. Rather, love the country that you're asked to defend. Love the Constitution you pledged your lives to protect. And most importantly, love the people you are ordered to lead. Make sure they eat before you do. Care about their families as much as your own. Be vested in their success more than your own accomplishments. Nurture their careers more than you pursue your own advancement. And value their lives to the point that you will always consider their safety in every single decision you make. It's only through this level of servant leadership that you will maximize and empower those you lead to meet the demands that will face us in this century. And those demands are getting more complicated every day as we're all learning. But it's also going to accrue incredible personal satisfaction to you during your time of service. Crew of the Teddy Roosevelt, you are under no obligation to love your leadership, only to respect it. You are under no obligation to like your job, only to do it. You are under no obligation to expect anything from your leaders other than that they will treat you fairly and put the mission of the ship first, because it is the mission of the ship that matters. You all know this, but in my view, your captain lost sight of this, and he compromised critical information about your status intentionally to draw greater attention to your situation. That was my judgment, and I judged that it couldn't be tolerated from the commanding officer of a nuclear aircraft carrier. This put you at great risk, even though I am certain he never thought it would. I'm certain he loved you all, as he should, but he lost sight of why the TR exists and why fate brought you all here together in the middle of this COVID crisis. Your nation back home is struggling. No one expected this pandemic, and so we are all working our way through it. Your fellow sailors in the States are volunteering, putting on uniforms, and running into the fire in places like New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, and New Orleans. I've seen them. No fear, running right into COVID. Nothing is easy in this for anyone. But from the very beginning, we have been engaged from my level down to bring you the help you need as fast as we possibly could. Understand, it takes time to flex up for a crisis this unique. But the TR has to stand strong as warriors, not weak like victims. The TR has to work its way through this with grace, not panic. The TR has to demonstrate to the citizens back home that it has its act together and that it is knocking down this virus, just like it would knock down the Chinese or the North Koreans or the Russians if any one of those nations were ever so stupid enough to mess with the big stick because they thought she was vulnerable. I cannot control or attempt to change whatever anger you have with me for relieving your beloved CO. If If I could offer you a glimpse of the level of hatred and pure evil that has been thrown my way, my family's way, over this decision, I would, but it doesn't matter. It's not about me. The former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, suggested just yesterday that my decision was criminal. I assure you it was not, because I understand the facts, and those facts show that what your captain did was very, very wrong in a moment when we expected him to be the calming force on a turbulent sea. There was very little upside in this decision for me. You can believe that or not. I made the decision for the Navy I love, for the Navy I served in and now serve for, and mostly for the sailors I am responsible for, not just here, but on nearly 300 other ships in the fleet. Your captain's actions had implications for them too. Imagine if every other CEO also believed that the media was a proper channel to air grievances with their chain of command under difficult circumstances.
I got to pick on the media.
We would no longer have a Navy. And not longer after that, we'd no longer have a country. Still, I understand you may be angry with me for the rest of your lives. I guarantee you won't be alone. But being angry is not your duty. Your duty is to each other, and to this ship, and to the nation that built it for you to protect them. Even amidst an unexpected crisis, it is the mission of this ship that matters. Our adversaries are watching, and that is why you are here. We will get you the help you need. You have my personal word on it. Your CEO had my personal word on that from day one. Whatever else you may think of me, I don't go back on my word. And when it comes to the TR, whether you hate me or not, I will never, ever, ever give up the ship, and neither should you. Thanks for listening, and I'll get the detailed answers to your questions to you sometime later this week. Go Navy.
Damn. Holy crap. Invoking all that political stuff, telling us that we're the media. I guess we could say we're media, right? I mean, you shouldn't use the media, and man, now you know why U.S. Navy WTF moments exist now. Have you not learned? What are your thoughts, man? Hail Hydra. Hey, what's up, Heath? How you been, man? What's your thoughts on that? I mean, do you honestly think, just from what that speech was? I mean, it's like having, I don't know, it's like having a general come down and start chewing you ass out for what your boss did, and he was like that was like the ultimate in piggybacking and caveating. If you ask me, I'm just saying. That was a lot of words. Exactly, Kaz. That was something that could, no thunderous applause either. Exactly. That was something, you're right, Kaz. That was something this probably could have been an email in itself. No pun intended. Word from the Navy or word from the Secretary's office was that this was supposed to have been a private conversation, and it was not for public dissemination, or not for the public. Yeah, well, that's what Captain Crozier thought too. He got. I want to know who was snitches get stitches. I want to know who ratted him out.
It sounds like he pissed someone off playing a big boy game, and he was an amateur.
Yeah. I think exactly that. It has been. Oh, this just in. This just in. Acting Navy Secretary Modley apologizes to Captain Crozier, who he removed at the helm of the USS Roosevelt, quote, saying that, "I do not think Captain Brett Crozier is naive nor stupid," he says in a statement. Wow, dude, this shit's like freaking. This is running on fire. This is in fuego. This is insane. He is definitely freaking. God, man, it's sad. It's sad. We're gonna go ahead and
go
ahead.
All the people that walked him off his port of duty.
You talking about when he walked off the ship, off the gangplank?
Yeah.
And was freaking, don't you know Navy terms? He disembarked of his vessel off the gangplank onto the pier. That's like Navy talk.
But don't they normally escort those individuals?
No, he got himself. He saluted the freaking the crew, and they were all like going, "Captain Crozier." Oh. Yeah, all the guys cursing in the background. That's right, Marshall. Let's grasp your inner E4 in this. We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna get our guest coming on. John Coleman. We're gonna talk about this earplug stuff. This is not a parody. This is not a duffel blog segment of U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio's Monday edition. This is going to be This is going to be a legit question back and forth in a Q&A about this stuff. So stand by it real quick and shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Take a look inside your life. Is it so bad? Is this where you draw the line? 'Cause it's so sad. Tell me where you lost your faith. Is it so bad? Couldn't see it in your face. And it's so sad. I'll wait until you come back down to me.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we are back. Part 2 of the Monday edition. We got John Coleman to give us the spiel and the deal about the about how come I can't hear very well and how I'm gonna get the money for it. I'm just kidding. But anyways, we want to welcome John Coleman from Quack Daniel to talk about this this case, this earplug thing. Now, look, we've all seen we've all seen the your Facebook feeds, right? And you've all seen the drama of, hey, how come this earplug stuff is always on my Facebook feed? It always says, have you been wearing these 3M black and golds? Blah, 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 blah. Well, John's gonna sit here and discuss himself, discuss what he's got going on, what he's doing, him being a vet himself, and how we can see what type of compensation you can get if you're affected by this, and if you wear these earplugs, and if you have hearing loss too. So, John, welcome to the show.
How's it going, guys?
Oh man. Okay, so first, real quick, we talked a little bit before we went hot mics. Tell us about yourself, tell us about your medical experience, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I joined the Marine Corps 10 days after I graduated high school in 2003. I served in the Marine Corps from 2003 to 2007. I did a couple of tours in Iraq. I also spent a little bit of time in Japan. My primary MOS was artillery, so I was at 0811. So I literally got to shoot the largest cannon that the U.S. arsenal has, which is awesome. How I originally got diagnosed with 0% for my hearing loss as well is far beyond me. I've got to have a different conversation with the VA on that one, but we're still working to get that figured out. But after that, I got my degree in criminal justice. I worked for the sheriff's office for about 9 years. Decided that getting shot at and being in politics wasn't any fun anymore. So I opened a gunsmithing shop that I ran for about 2.5 years, and at which point that got closed down to politics. So I said, you know what, let's go back to the law. That seems to be where my bread and butter is. So I started working with Quack Daniel October of last year to start really helping out veterans with this case and actually spreading the word about what's actually going on, and to get vets involved and to let them know that, the stuff that they're going through, it doesn't have to be the way that it is. We just have to keep fighting it. We have to know how to fight the fight. But there's always ways to move forward. So don't give up, keep going with it. And, we'll figure out a way to get over any hurdle that we need to get over.
Now, you said that you're working in field artillery, and then you went through, did you just do a normal retirement, or did you do a medical retirement when you got out?
No, so I was honorably discharged in 2007. Through that, I've gotten a myriad of disabilities, including PTSD and hearing loss, tinnitus. Pretty much my whole lower body is all screwed up. So, that was kind of one of those things. Once I figured, again, getting shot at wasn't really all that fun to begin with. So, I figured if I was going to get shot at with a limp, I might as well just go ahead and retire from being shot at altogether.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, besides, you don't want to place a danger to yourself if you're limping around getting shot at, because then you're not fast.
Yeah, especially the guys I'm with. I don't want to make a danger for them either.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So then you start. Okay. So you went through. You got out. You EAS'd is what the Marine Corps calls it. How we say ETS. Yep. You EAS'd, and then you EAS'd, and then you went through of course, a standard VA claims process, right?
Yeah. So I went through the VA claims process. I got out in 2007. I actually had to have reconstructive shoulder surgery in 2008. So I wasn't able to actually start filing my claims until 2009 because I was in a hospital for the majority of 2008. So 2009 was when I actually went through and started filing my disability claims. That didn't get concluded until just before 2011. and it was a fight to go from point A to point B. And I actually love telling the story because my girlfriend's sitting here with me. And,
Go for it, man. We got plenty of time. Go for it.
Every time I tell this, but so when I got through my initial claim, I had so much stuff get denied. I just said, screw it. Like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. And when I started dating my girlfriend that I have now, we were probably dating for about 8 months or so. And she finally told me, she goes, we're going to have to go to the doctor. We've got to start getting some stuff figured out and get stuff situated. And I said, you don't understand how bad the VA is. You'll never want to go back. And, just what everybody says. And so I finally had to go in for one of my TBI claims. And so we're sitting there for, probably about the first 30 minutes with a medical practitioner. And she keeps asking me the same questions over and over and over and over again. And finally, my girlfriend looks at me and she kind of slams her hand down on her knee and she looks at the doctor and she goes, well, he's already answered that fucking question. And I said, it's probably time that you should take a break. Why don't you just go stand outside for a little while?
The ladies seem to protect us. They seem to protect us a little bit when they're hearing. Maybe we don't hear shit. Well, maybe because you're deaf, right? You couldn't hear.
The VA.
So then when you started going through that process, what was the next? I mean, obviously, okay. So you kicked her out of the room. She left the room. Then what?
Yeah. So from there, she didn't come back in the room. We texted at that point, and I said, no, we've got about 20 minutes left. So she kind of just, hung out in the waiting area out front. But then once we got done with the appointment, everything was said and done. And I was like, this is the game that we have to play. This is unfortunately what we have to go through as vets, to get stuff and to get the treatment that we actually need to get, which is, it's a horrible thing. It's a very, very bad thing. I will say I'm still going through that TBI process now. And that's 13 years later. So the VA has changed a lot. I don't know that you would really call it for the better, but they've changed the way that they do a lot of stuff. They've streamlined a lot of stuff, which is kind of nice, but it's still a fight. And so what I normally tell people now is, get with some type of veterans organization. Get with, there's a whole bunch of them out there, especially in Texas. There's thousands of them probably. Get with somebody that knows what they're doing. Let them do most of the work for you. Actually, part of the process that we're doing through this claim is that people that don't have disabilities, we're actually, working through that process with them. So they're not just, having to go into the VA blind, not really understanding what to do or what to expect. I'm able to walk them through that process because I've been through it. I'm still currently doing it. We have organizations that are actually helping us out with this stuff. So, we're not doing it alone. Whoever we service is not going to do it alone. We're going to be there with whoever our clients are 100% of the way. And the whole point of what we're trying to do is to build a network. So, and to build a family and a community. So, hopefully the service that we can provide to veterans doesn't stop after this case is over. We're hoping that it continues, whether it's divorce attorneys or family law or criminal law, whatever the case may be. We're looking to be that one-stop shop so that we can help veterans in all aspects.
At that point, then the hearing loss, and then we just talked about before we went, before our mics went hot. I've been myself, and like I said, I talked a little bit about my case, how I was, all the blast and the noise and the guns and the jumping out of airplanes and stuff, and then has had me deaf in one ear, total hearing loss on one ear, and hearing a little bit of hearing degradation on the right ear. They also said that what's the other one that they said? That what we said, you got total hearing loss and you got tinnitus, but there's no service connected and you're going to be rated as 0. What's up with that? What's
Yeah, so the hearing test that the VA uses is they're actually the only people in the world that use that hearing test. And when I say the world, that's actually meant quite literal. They are the only organization in the world that uses that hearing test. Nobody else uses it. And funny enough, even with this case, or not very funny actually, but with this case, when the government settled their lawsuit in 2018, one of the things they actually stipulated was there was over 1.6 million veterans that were given these earplugs, and they guaranteed that those veterans got these earplugs. And so now to come back to that and say that hearing loss is one of the most denied disabilities through the VA.
It is.
That's I mean, it's unrealistic is what it is.
Right.
So in one breath, we're going to say that, we guaranteed that these guys got these earplugs. And we know that they screwed up their hearing and they're going to be crazy and, they're going to have to learn sign language and all this stuff. But at the same breath, we're going to say that it's not service connected. And so we're hoping that this lawsuit actually changes a lot of that.
Now, this lawsuit then is it's not a recoup from the VA. It's from the manufacturer. Can you give us a description of what exactly we're seeking with this? What is this, a class action lawsuit? What is this?
Yeah, so this is actually not a class action lawsuit. This is actually what's called a mass tort. Okay, and so the difference between the two of them is in a class action lawsuit, and I'm going to use real-time data with this case that we have going on right now.
Okay.
So we've got a little over 100,000 people that have filed for this case nationwide. Okay, so in a class action lawsuit, if we take those 100,000 veterans, in a class action lawsuit, you would have one lawsuit. All 100,000 vets are going to be named, but there's only going to be one settlement at the end of that lawsuit. And that's usually where everybody winds up with a check that's, $10, $12.
Right.
You're going to waste a bunch of your time. You're going to sit on the phone for hours at a time, and you're going to answer a bunch of questions. And at the end, all you're getting is a check for peanuts.
Right, exactly.
In a mass tort, it's the exact opposite. So if I have that same 100,000 veterans as clients or, as cases, then now I have 100,000 different lawsuits, which also means that I have 100,000 different settlements. So if your case was to settle for $1 million, my case was to settle for $1,000. You're not going to share your million with me. I'm not going to share my 1,000 with you. And that's how the day ends. Okay. So it has nothing to do with the VA other than the fact that we get your medical records because it has to do with military service. So we get your medical records through the VA system because that's how we can prove that you have hearing loss and tinnitus. But other than that, the lawsuit is strictly against 3M. It has nothing to do with the government. It has nothing to do with the VA.
So if you get any claim or settlement, does that have to be reported through the VA? If, in fact, the VA decides to say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and, or is this something that's outside of the VA realm? You know what I mean? Is this, because, eventually, because, our elected officials like to say they'd like to take care of vets. And since a lot of, and like I said, you were saying before, there's a lot of veterans that have not been given their compensation or have been given a rating for hearing loss or tinnitus. And so does that mean that when it does happen, if you were to get money from this 3M deal, is that going to hurt me? Is that going to, you know what I mean? Is that going to be, is the VA going to say, nah, John Coleman hooked you up with some cash. You don't need it. Is that going to, could that happen?
No. So there's two forks that this road can go down. Okay. So the first one being somebody that's not diagnosed with hearing loss and tinnitus. Okay. So if you haven't been diagnosed with hearing loss or tinnitus through the VA system, that does not mean that you are disqualified from this case.
Okay.
Okay. All it means is that we have to find you an audiologist that will diagnose you with hearing loss or tinnitus, whichever you actually have, and then we'll use that evidence in the case.
Okay.
If you've already been diagnosed and you're already on disability for hearing loss or tinnitus, your disability cannot be taken away because you filed a lawsuit. Okay. So it's not going to affect any future disabilities that you have or that you want to get. It's not going to affect any of that stuff. So it has nothing to do with the VA other than the fact that we have to get medical records from the VA because, again, it has to do with military service. But other than that, the VA is completely left out of it.
Awesome. I mean, oh, that sucks. Unfortunate. Poor VA. What are they going to do? So of some of the VS, oh man, poor VA. Oh, has there been any veteran service organizations that have like reached out to you that, hey, yeah, let's, what, you can do this, like the VFW or IAVA, have they, or, American Legion, have they?
Yeah. So we actually work with, so I've been to several VFW conferences. We know several people that work in the American Legion. And a lot of it is again, it's vets trying to help vets. We're actually located in Houston, so we've got about 30 or so organizations that we work with at any given time. And that's part of the network that we're trying to build. So whatever service that you need, even if it has nothing to do with the case, if you were to call me and go, hey, John, I need help filing my disability claim, but I don't qualify for the 3M stuff. I just don't know what to do. Great. We've got people that we can reach out to that can assist you with that stuff. We've got people that can fill out that paperwork. If you need counseling for any, mental issues, you have PTSD and you have anger issues and that type of stuff. We've got people that we can help you out with as far as counseling for that stuff goes. So we've got a myriad of different people that we can use. regardless of what the situation is. If I can't help you, if our law firm can't help you, we know somebody that can, and that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. So we do work with the VFW. We're working with the American Legion. We've done several things down here with a lot of the veteran organizations that are helping out, like homeless vets, that kind of stuff. So, regardless of the walk of life that you come from, if you qualify for the case, it's worth your while to get signed up for it.
You just said something about Texas. Is there some sort of jurisdiction issues with this? I know there's some sort of legality on the types of awards that different states can have. So in other words, you have something that's going on in Florida, but you're in Texas. How does that equate to the same lawsuit? I mean, if I'm explaining it right.
So
I scored pretty low on my LSAT when I took it. Well, I mean, I guess. But I tried, damn it. I think I did okay.
So don't feel too bad. Don't feel too bad. So this is actually filed in what's called an MDL, which is a multi-district litigation. Okay, so in short, this is a lawsuit that's nationwide. So it's not specific to any one state. However, we do have to follow state-specific laws. And to give you an example of that is the statute of limitations. Okay, so for example, this lawsuit was started in Florida. That was the main law firm that did all the lead investigating, everything like that. So everybody that files as a part of this lawsuit is actually going to file through the MDL court in Florida. So it doesn't matter if you live in California, you could be represented by a law firm that's based out of New York, and that law firm can file out of Florida. It doesn't matter. There's no jurisdiction, regardless of where you're at. Okay. Again, we do have to follow state laws in some instances, and a good example of that is the statute of limitations. So there's about 90% of the country falls under the 2-year statute of limitations law. Okay, and basically what that means is the government settled their lawsuit in July of 2018. So July of 2020 would be 2 years from when the government settled their lawsuit. That's going to be our statute of limitations window. So we've got about 6-7 weeks left to actually sign people up for this case.
Oh, wow.
Now, some states that have a 3-year statute of limitations. There are some states that have a 4-year statute of limitations. There are some states that actually have a 1-year statute of limitations. So we're actually running very, very short on time, which is, again, why I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. But, we're trying to get the word out as fast as we can. And so, however we can help vets, that's what we're here to do.
If you, this is for post-show stuff. I'll ask you some post-show stuff when the mics aren't hot, because there's some things I want to ask admin-wise. But somebody had a question about where does this fall into the Erie Doctrine? Have you had the federal government have to step in at all to kind of mess with this at all, to get involved? Has there been any, in other words, statute of limitations happen, the feds are not getting involved with this at all yet, right? They're so far for them, they're just like, yeah, this is done, this is over with. States handle it. No one has brought it up to the feds for any type of appeal or any type of interference. To settle, because the Erie Doctrine is like a settling of dispute that they might have anyway. So what's their case? Are they going to be able to come back in and say, I want to invoke the Erie Doctrine, or is that just one of those barracks lawyers maybe could happen type things?
Yeah, so what's actually happening right now, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but the judge that's handling all the pre-litigation stuff for this trial is also a veteran. So I don't know how many more stars we need to align for this to go in our way. But the whole galaxy is pretty much, giving you a straight shot here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, so what happened was pretty much when the government settled their lawsuit, that's actually what opened the door for vets to file their lawsuit. Okay. This is actually an unprecedented thing because no government contractor has ever been able to be held accountable for basically selling shitty equipment to the military.
Right.
What started that process was the government actually filed their lawsuit first. And that, because they did that essentially opened the door for us to follow through and do the exact same thing. So when the government filed a lawsuit against fraud, I want to say it was 3 or 4 counts. I can't remember which, but they filed for several counts of fraud against 3M. That essentially negated any contract or any amnesty that 3M has with the government or with the veterans as far as these earplugs are concerned. Now, don't get me wrong, 3M still has several contracts open with the military. They still do. They're the leading manufacturer and distributor for the N95 mask right now with the coronavirus. So trust me, they're still making money right now. And we're going to hold their feet to the fire on that one as well, because they're going to push us back, and hopefully to gain some more money out of this. So that's another thing that we're fighting for as well. So there's no recourse of any type that we've heard of yet that they can pull back and say, you guys should have known about this.
Right.
None of that has applied so far.
Right, because at the time that it happened, because we were not laughing about it, but we were kind of talking about it when 3M reached that settlement for about $9 million with the government when they were first given those allegations, and so it was crazy that this has not been. Did we just did the veteran community just fuck up this thing when it came to spreading the word or something? Because I mean,
yeah. So what happened was, as a law firm, we can't do any type of solicitation. So I can't walk down the street and then go, hey, did you serve in the military? Oh, great, you need to step into my office. You qualify for this lawsuit.
Right.
We can't do that. So what happens is these genius people that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school, and they go to these Ivy League schools to get these big fancy diplomas and these big fancy frames just to learn a bunch of words that they don't know how to pronounce and they surely can't spell. That's what lawyers do, okay? And my attorney that I work with, I'm not an attorney. I don't try to be one. The attorney that I work with knows that this is how I feel about attorneys, and this is why we have such a great love-hate relationship, because he knows that I hate him, and he loves that about me. So it's a great duo.
That was gonna be my third choice if the military or being in law enforcement didn't work out, was gonna be a lawyer. So thanks for me, thanks, dude. Okay, interview's over. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, if you want to get paid to argue, that's a great way to do it.
Oh, I love arguing. Yeah, just ask all my ex-wives. They fucking know that I love to argue.
There you go.
So go ahead.
So what law firms have to do is they have to go out and they find these marketing firms that really don't know anything about the law. And so you have lawyers and attorneys that don't know how to speak English to regular people. And then you have marketing people that don't know how to speak lawyer. And so when you put the two of them together, that's what you come up with, is the shit that you see on Facebook that's floating around, that's horrible advertising. It looks like it's made out of a coffee can.
Oh my God! They have stock photos. I mean, the first thing and you've been in the military, right? So you're in especially the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, you guys are real big sticklers for the uniform and how it presents. I can guarantee it. They have individuals in those stock photos for them that you just literally want to find out who runs that page. And I always hit that freaking reporting abuse, because they jack up the uniforms and stuff. So
yeah, I've there's been a couple of times where I'm going, man, maybe I shouldn't be doing this on Facebook, because I find one of these advertisements and I'm like, that's not fucking right.
Right, exactly. Oh well, but that's
on there when I do that. So
let's
take that one out.
Well, I'm gonna be I'm gonna put some transparency here, and everybody knows me. I'm pretty blunt force honesty when it comes to stuff. I was skeptical about you coming on. I'm like, all right, this ain't this dude ain't doing, this guy ain't part of the guys that's doing the fucking shitty fucking promos, right? This ain't that guy. And it took our admin and our front desk to go like, no, Ken, it's not it's he's working it, and they gave me some more of your background and did some research. Like, okay, this is cool. Are we sure? Did I say yes? I mean, because you think about it. And look. I mean, you know our platform. You know how far we reach out. We reach out to a lot of people. And what I didn't want to do is that I want to sit there and be those people that said, "Oh, great, now WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments is they're gonna put some ugly picture up there with some poser that thinks he's in the military." So, what is? Go ahead.
I've it's kind of funny. That's actually been the hardest part about this lawsuit, because when you talk about the advertising for it and stuff. It's our bread and butter is to be able to sit down and talk to people face to face, So when you've got to do a lot of this stuff over the phone because of everything that's going on now, it's hard for people to really understand and trust, the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Right.
But it's a little bit different when I'm standing in front of somebody and I've got a full sleeve tattoo and I've got, the Marine Corps emblem and USMC tattooed on my forearm. People look at that and they go, okay, well, he's not just saying he's in the military. I can tell you stories about 29 Palms and, rolling through the LOD going in from Kuwait to Iraq. I've got pictures of all that stuff. So, it's when people see that and they can see the genuine that you have in your face and they can hear it in the tone of your voice, it's a whole different ballgame. But now essentially the world has essentially pulled the rug out from underneath our feet. And so now I'm working out of my home office going, okay, well, how do I reach out to vets? How do we get this word out? How do they understand it? We actually started working with Mark Geist. If you guys know anything about Mark Geist, one of the survivors from Benghazi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't get me started about that. Another 4 hours we'll be here talking about that shit. Look.
But, we work with Mark Geist. He's one of the spokesmen that we have to help drive this message out to veterans. So it is a very, very real thing. And I always tell people, if you guys have questions, concerns, anything like that, just call me, shoot me a text message, shoot me an email. Even if you don't want to sign up with the case from us, like, that's fine. I will answer everything that you need me to answer so that you feel comfortable signing up with the case, even if you do it with somebody else. But at the end of the day, we have strength in numbers, and right now we need to continue to build that strength that we have going.
So real quick, what is the criteria of? What was the? I guess you could say, what's the window of these earplug uses that you're kind of looking for?
Yeah, so there's three things that you need to qualify for the 3M lawsuit, and the first one is that you have to be a vet or any type of government employee that served from 2003 to 2015. So that can be a postal worker, that can be a government contractor. Somebody worked on the flight lines. It doesn't have to be just the military. Anybody that worked for the government between 2003 and 2015. Okay, if you served or worked between those times and you have hearing loss and tinnitus, not that you're diagnosed through the VA, but you have symptoms of hearing loss and tinnitus, and then the last one is that you remember using the 3M earplugs. So there were a couple different variations of the 3M earplugs. The most prominent one was black or olive green on one side and yellow on the other, and it looked almost kind of like a Christmas tree.
When we're, like I was telling you before, assigned at Fort Bragg, that was like the new hotness. That was like the new. As a matter of fact, I probably have a couple of those types of earplugs still in my couple of Foot Lockers, because that was back in the day. That was like, ooh, this is new. This is the new. One side's for combat, one side's for ranges, or some shit like that. I can't remember. And I'm like, really? Oh wow. Of course, you're young and naive. Like, really? That's what those earplugs do. One side's for combat, one side's for sign me up. You know what I mean? So what did it? So from there, so it was 2003 to 2015. And then working in any type of government work. So then, and then of course being used. You don't have to like produce a pack or something like that, right? You don't have to say that. Yeah, use these. I mean, that's
no. So one of the things that the government actually stipulated in their lawsuit was anybody or pretty much anybody that was deployed for OIF or OEF, so Operation Iraqi Freedom or Operation Enduring Freedom, even if you didn't necessarily go to the Middle East. There was also, I believe it was 19 other countries that were listed in the lawsuit.
Operation Enduring Freedom. There was Operation Enduring Freedom Afghanistan, Operation Freedom the Philippines and the Pacific. There was Operation Enduring Freedom in Africa. There was Operation Enduring Freedom in other areas that cannot be disclosed. There's that right there was like a blanket statement aside from the OIF ones.
So anybody that served for either one of those campaigns, the government stipulated that they should have been given those earplugs. They actually used the word guarantee. So it's, we're not asking people to come out and produce, photographs or anything like that. If you're kind of like me and you're a weirdo and you still have stuff like that, it helps to benefit because in the event that we do need it, then we have it. But if you don't have it, that doesn't take you out of the running for this case.
Okay, so as a personal question, so you're saying that you hoard too? You hoard your kit? That's what I did when I retired, man. I kind of like have stuff like. I was telling somebody, do I need to throw this away? Can I keep this? I mean, is there any like nostalgia? Do you do that? Do you keep like little trinkets like that for nostalgia?
I mean, I'm not going to say that I have my military equipment or not, because it wasn't exactly legal to keep your military equipment. But I've seen some of it recently.
Yeah, I sometimes in the lake that I paddleboard at, I see it on the bottom of all of the lakes. That's what sometimes because I lost it. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Stuff hanging on my wall, if I want to reminisce about good times. Yeah.
So then, okay, so you have that period of time, 2003 to 2015. There's no Fed involvement. It's a multi-state, a multi-district lawsuit. Now, what does I mean? It's okay. I guess we could try. Can we trash 3M on this shit? I mean, can we just say, hey, look, what does 3M say? Are they like, nah, we didn't.
You know, they're not really saying a whole lot. Because of the evidence that's actually mounted against them, they're not really saying a whole lot. We've actually got word, and this is something that's just kind of floating around the pipeline. You know, you call it what you will, take it with a grain of salt, however you want to say it. But they were supposed to have some cases that went through this year that would essentially dictate how everybody else would settle their cases in the future. Okay, and those are what's called a Bellwether Trial. So the judge picked or selected 6 cases at random. They were supposed to go through the trial process. 3M is pretty much fearing those cases going to trial because they know what's going to happen. And so they pushed those cases off for another year. And the reason that they did that is because we're actually starting to get some talk about settlements that are potentially coming out after the statute of limitations expires this year. So we're looking sometime July, August timeframe. We should actually start seeing some actual settlement checks being sent out to a lot of these vets.
Are you guys ready for some testimonials? I mean, are you gonna like? Because I think, no, I'm serious because I mean, a little bit of joking too, but I think what veterans are skeptical about it's the scam, because there's also people out there. There's also other media reports saying that this shit's kind of like a scam. So I mean. Yeah, and so I mean I get that. There's especially the older vets. They get tend to the next greatest thing to whatever. You know, they vets want to get compensated, and a lot of veteran community feel that they've not been compensated or rated for what they think they should get, or what they were rated to get, but then just not given a freaking a disability portion of their check for, or rated to a specific amount. So there's like kind of like some skepticism right now in the veteran community to see, is this like shit real? Is someone really going to get paid? Are you going to have someone out there with like a big freaking fake check? I'm just kidding, but you're going to have somebody out there saying, hey, I did get paid. I mean, because then it goes to the truth in marketing or truth in advertising, like we were talking about, because then that's where the credibility issue is of how is this? I mean, because I think that's what it is. I think no one's seeing a paycheck yet. No one's seeing anybody saying that they've received a paycheck. Aside from you, of course. I mean, you're doing through this that you've seen.
Yeah, and so
what's your plan? I guess you would see to throw the word out that guys are getting paid, guys and gals are getting paid. What's your plan for that?
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you, we're not expecting anything to come out until after July, and the reason for that is because that's when the statute of limitations is going to end for the majority of the country. From any business standpoint, even though you want to hurry up and get rid of this lawsuit, it would be asinine to start sending settlement checks out before the statute of limitations expired. Because if people did start receiving settlement checks for $100,000 or $150,000, well, then the number of plaintiffs that you're going to have in this case are going to go through the roof. They're going to become astronomical. And that was all because you decided to settle these cases early. So we are 100%, we're not expecting anything to happen before July, because that is when the statute of limitations runs out for the majority of the country. After that, we should start seeing some real numbers actually get traction. There are a couple of ranges that are being spoken about right now, and most of those ranges are sitting between the 5 to 6 figure mark. So again, you're not going to share that with anybody. I will tell you, this is going to be like any other service or any other job that you would have somebody else do. There's going to be fees involved. But this isn't one of those things where the attorneys are going to take 60-70% of what's happening.
Yeah, I was about to ask that too. What's the?
Yeah, so right now, I can't really go into details on that one because each law firm is going to have their own specific fees that they require. I can tell you for ours, we start out at 33.33%, which is a pretty standard percentage. But we're also expecting the judge to cap the fees that we can accept in this case as well. That's actually one of the things that's on the table right now to get ruled on. But she hasn't made a ruling on it yet. So we don't know what she's going to cap that at or if she's going to cap it at all. But we are expecting that to happen. It's just a matter of time before we get some information on that as well.
Okay. Yeah, because everyone's kind of like going. I mean, there's some questions here about tinnitus stuff. What about the any countersuit? Like, is this going to be, in other words, so we're I'm not saying guarantee it, but 3M's done with this. They're awash. They're not gonna they're not gonna be coming out and saying, well, we paid this many vets for you guys and all this other stuff, and that's gonna be, now we're gonna stop paying this. Why haven't, again, I'm just kind of baffled. Why hasn't the media come out with this? Why hasn't the veteran, aside from, I've not heard any VSOs asking or saying, hey, make sure you sign up for this. Make sure you sign up for the frickin' burn pit registry. Make sure you know what I mean? Make sure you go get your flu shot. That's the only thing I've seen from the VA.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of different reasons behind that, and the main one is that most of them don't understand what's going on. When you look at a lot of law firms that are taking on this case, most of them don't have vets that are working for this case. Most of them are paralegals or something along those lines. And what they're doing is they're putting these scams. See, I'm saying it now too. They're putting these ads out on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And what they're doing is they're just getting people to click on it, and they fill out their information, and then they have an automated process to go, okay, well, this person qualifies, this person doesn't. Well, then the marketing companies hold that stuff hostage, and they say, hey, we're going to charge you $50, $60 a lead. And so every time you pay that $60, they're going to send you a new name. And that's how everything happens.
So this is part of that. So this is part of the Facebook advertising then.
Yeah. So this is what people are paying for. Law firms are actually paying marketing companies to go do this, and we're not doing that. We're actually not marketing at all. None of the business that we get for anything that we do in our law firm comes from marketing. For example, so I don't know if you guys have heard about the explosion that happened down here in Houston.
Yeah.
At the end of January, we're the lead law firm on that. Well, we're out in the community every weekend. We're having barbecues. We're handing out water. We're giving out food. We're answering questions for people about their rights and all that stuff. And that's what we're doing for this case as well. We're reaching out to a lot of these veterans organizations. We're saying, hey, we want to help you guys out. What events do you guys have that we can come speak at? Maybe we can buy food for everybody, or we'll buy a couple of drinks for everybody, and give us a chance to talk. And so that's what we're doing through the Houston market. So out of the probably 30 to 40 organizations that are in the Houston market where we are, just about every one of them knows who the law firm is. And I'm going to say at least 3/4 of them know me by first name, whether we've gone out drinking or had lunch or, whatever the case is. But that's what we do. And that's how we've gotten the word for this case out. So, we're not looking to make this into a numbers game. We want, obviously, as many people as we can get, but I'm more concerned with helping out the vet than I am helping out the number of vets.
Gotcha. Oh, now, have you had any of these marketing companies come after you and say, hey, you're cutting our shit? Have anybody come after you about this stuff? Has anybody come out and slam, try to come at you?
We've had several people contact us. We've had people, wanting to do, because we're working with Mark Geist, they've had people, that are wanting to do, TV commercials and Facebook videos and all this kind of stuff. And that's not who we are. We're more concerned with the quality of care that we give, than the amount of money that we can make. It's actually kind of funny because if you ever get a chance to talk to either one of the partners at the law firm, they'll both tell you they've got more money than than they know what to do with. So at this point, money isn't what they're concerned with in their careers. Now it's how do we help people? They've made all the money they want to make. So now they're going back to going, well, how do we help people? And this is one of the ways that they know how to help people. If you know how to build houses or how to pave roads and that kind of stuff, that's what you do to help people. Well, these guys know the law, and so that's now they're trying to pay their dues forward.
That's what I'm talking about. Somebody asked me a question. Hey, so are these guys going to go door to door? Because that's how you guys rile up the Boog Boys. How is this going to happen? Or do the checks come in like Publishers Clearinghouse, a van full of people with balloons and cameras?
Yeah.
These are legit questions. I'm asking from the chat, so I got to ask them. Go ahead.
We've got your address and everything, so we're just going to take a drone and fly it over your backyard, peek through your back window and fly a little banner behind it saying we've got your check. But no, so if anybody's curious or if they want to sign up, they can go to a website. It's 3msignup.com. 3msignup.com. If you go to that website, it'll show you everything that there is to qualify for the case. You'll have to answer a few cursory questions just to make sure that you understand what it takes to qualify. If you're just looking for information, it will also pass on information about that. So, if you want to look at the law firm, who the partners are, what their message is. It'll link you back to the law firm's website as well. So just about any information that you need for the law firm or for the 3M earplug claim, it's going to be on that website. Again, it's 3msignup.com.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. We'll after the after we take a break and finish up the interview, we'll get all your deets together, man. So that way, we'll give you if this is to help vets out, we'll give you some. We don't give a shit. We'll post some stuff here on this Facebook page, on our Facebook page too.
And it's for everybody, for our law firm, the guys that you're going to speak with when you start filing for this claim, I'm going to be the one that does probably 95% of the initial consult calls. And so what that means is if you were to find this information on the internet somewhere or whatever, and you were going, hey, I want to figure this out, I'm going to be the guy that you're going to talk to. So you're not going to go talk to an attorney that speaks a language you don't understand. You're not going to talk to some high school girl who is still playing with her bubble gum in her hair at the same time. You're going to talk to a vet. I can tell you everything that's going on. I can answer all the questions, and we can have a real heart-to-heart conversation. We don't have to be politically correct. If we want to drop F-bombs,
right?
Well, let's drop F-bombs.
Yeah. Well, no, there are some guys and gals that are legit. I mean, it's for me from right now for my age, it's not a quality of life issue right now. Pretty soon it will become a quality of life issue. Then it's going to be a personal risk issue, because if there's some things that look what I'm doing right now. I gotta have, this is my job. This is kind of like my gig now. I have to do broadcasting, and if I can't do my gig anymore, I can't have, I can't listen to sound, or I can't do that. This is an impacting possibly a future in broadcasting. And also safety at the house as I get older. I'm gonna get old. That's just normal. I mean, I'm already ancient as it is, but there's gonna be issues that I'm gonna need to have. Everyone's gonna need to have hearing. I know people are going to be like, and I want to get compensated for it. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth with some people in the chats. they're kicking back some stuff with me. So has there been any, now from your end, has there been any legislation, any lobbying, anybody from that side of the house to say to the VA, because I know it took them forever to do the Blue Water thing. It's taken them forever to do the damn burn pit registry. It's taken them forever. Is there anybody in the VA that is going, or any legislation in Congress to tell the VA, hey, or, because I'll guarantee it right now, everybody in the military is going to get hearing loss. There's booms, bangs, and explosions that are going to happen, especially you, man. You were like goddamn fucking red leg. So you're going to be exposed to environments where there's going to be loud noises. Why doesn't the VA automatically just that's an automatic compensation, an automatic payout. Why don't they do it? Do you know?
It would cost too much money. Unfortunately, that's the realistic answer. And so when you look at hearing loss, because hearing loss is such a large thing, and it's a shitty thing to say, don't get me wrong. As a vet, I'm on your side for this one. Especially being in artillery, guy, if you're telling me I don't have hearing loss, we need to have a different conversation. And that's a conversation where I shove your head into a cannon tube and I go, really? How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, exactly. Or give them the boom test, because there's
that's unfortunately the real answer to the situation, because it would cost too much money. When you look at tinnitus is not a disability that can be tested. It's actually completely subjective. Now, there's a list of questions that they're going to have to ask, and then depending on how you answer those questions, will dictate how the diagnosis goes. But as far as hearing loss, it's one of those things where I think, from my personal opinion, I think the VA understands everybody's going to have hearing loss. So at that point, it's one of those things, well, if it's easy, everybody's going to do it. So how do we make it hard so that not everybody qualifies? And that's how you get to the process that the VA has, which, again, I don't condone it. I don't like it. But unfortunately, that's one of those things where it is what it is. I mean, I don't know of any way to change it. I know that it's being talked about right now, especially with the burn pit stuff. The VFW is doing a lot of stuff right now for the burn pits. They're still doing a lot of stuff for Vietnam guys, as far as like the Agent Orange and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, a lot of it is being talked about, but really it doesn't fall on our shoulders to carry. We can only take that message to Congress. We can only take it to the House so many times. And then eventually we have to have leaders that actually stand up and know what the fuck's going on and actually lead the country and provide stuff that, they need to provide. Instead of just saying, hey, we need to get good testing. Well, how about you stop saying we need to get good testing and you provide good testing?
Yeah. You were saying it's subjective. Is that's something that the VA tossed at you, saying, yeah, it's subjective on tinnitus? I mean, because I have to adjust my sounds when I'm broadcasting because of tinnitus. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what's
so with hearing loss, there's all different types of different tests that you can do that can show how much hearing loss you have. You click the little button when you hear the beep, or you raise a hand, or you say something, or you have word association and that type of stuff. But with tinnitus, there's nothing to say yes you have ringing or no you don't. It's based upon your word. And that's why I say it's completely subjective, because there's no physical test that anyone can do. And it's not just the VA, but any doctor. There's no test that any doctor can do that can say whether or not you did definitively have tinnitus. It's a very subjective thing. So, if you were to walk into a hospital and go, hey, my ears are ringing, well, they're going to sit you down and they're going to have a tinnitus questionnaire, and they're going to go over all that stuff with you to determine whether or not that's what the cause of it is. But there's also a lot of other stuff that could cause ringing in the ears, like TBIs, traumatic brain injuries,
right.
Car accidents. That's a very common thing in car accidents. That's what we deal with on a daily basis. You get your head bounced off a window in a car. Well, your ears are going to ring for a couple of days, but then it goes away. What we generally deal with in the military is a constant pounding. And that's where you start to get into TBIs and concussions and that kind of thing. And then that physically damages, the ear canals and the eardrums and all that stuff. And that's what causes that constant ringing, because it's been swollen and it's been pain for so long that now it doesn't have any other way to react. That's just what happens.
Right. Do you have any docs, any of the ear doctors like chime in on the stuff? Like, do you have any quantitative data for them to kind of like assist in this? I mean, or is it just purely on case precedents?
As far as what's being diagnosed with hearing loss and tinnitus?
Correct.
We do have we have statistics. I just don't have them sitting in front of me. The big one that I know that we have is the total number of veterans that were affected by the earplugs, which was 1.6 million. I believe, and this was in 2016, so it's probably changed a little bit since then. I believe it was 1.2 million were diagnosed with tinnitus or likely to have tinnitus. And then I want to say it was, roughly 900,000 or so that had been denied for hearing loss.
Oh, wow.
So again, one of the most commonly denied disabilities is hearing loss. And that's why it's such a pain in the ass to deal with this. But, the interesting thing about this lawsuit is, and I want to bring this up because it hits on so many different levels.
Yeah, hit it, man.
But when people hear about this lawsuit, they go, well, it's hearing loss. I'm going to have to wear hearing aids. I'm going to have to, learn sign language. Well, boo fucking who? We were all in the military. We all did this shit. We all know it's going to happen anyway. Whether you got it from the earplugs or not, it's going to happen. The big thing with this case is actually the tinnitus. And we spoke about it earlier because we talk about the quality of life. When you look at everything that's been going on in the veteran community with veteran suicide and people that are, they're going crazy, they're having so bad, and it's literally fucking driving vets nuts.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff is linked to tinnitus. These are all secondary disabilities because of tinnitus.
Right.
These are all can be linked back to these earplugs, and that's how fucked up this situation really is. So, 3M could have paid another 15, 20 cents for each set of earplugs and fixed the problem. They didn't do that. And now the result of that is how many of your brothers and how many of my brothers and sisters and people that we know have committed suicide because now their head is literally ringing so loud they can't make it.
That's me. That's me.
Exactly.
That's me. I have it, some days it would be a low grade. It'll be a slight ringing when I'm busy or when I'm doing something. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, it'll just start getting more intense and more intense and more intense, and to the point where I can be completely silent in a soundproof room, and I can hear it, just like freaking deafening. It's deafening to me. And sometimes, not all the time, but it happens in waves. So yeah, I do think that's, and then you bring up a good point. A lot of the reason why a lot of the veterans are going through what they're going through is because no one explains. That's what I'm saying. Nobody explains to the veteran community exactly this type of things can happen. I mean, look, it's like you said, if there's something that we could do for you, fine, we could fucking do it. If there's some sort of tech to do good, if there's some biomedical, biotech type stuff, or anything that has to do with AI or implants or something to get you squared away, I would love to do that. But until then, at least the comfort of, hey, look, you have some comfort where. Have you guys talked about medicinal marijuana at all? Have you guys talked about that type of stuff? Have you guys introduced yourself to the legalization movement?
Yeah, a lot of it is because a lot of states don't, for like Texas, so they still don't believe in medicinal marijuana. So it's kind of one of those things where, as far as a Texas law firm, we haven't been able to really expand on the knowledge of that because it doesn't really apply to us. We can't. I'm not going to tell somebody to go out and smoke weed. I've never smoked it, so I don't know. You can hate me for it or whatever you want, but it's one of those things that I've never done it, so I don't know if it would really help or not. But I also know that it's not legal in the state of Texas, regardless of whether it's medicinal or not. So at that point, it just kind of takes off the table for us. Okay. Now we can't speak about every state and what their laws are. So because it's not legal in Texas, we generally just don't bring it up.
Okay, I was just curious because a lot of individuals, because we're that was to some individuals that use herbal supplements of that nature, have said that sometimes it does help. So I was just wondering if it will assist in that, because you're right. There's a lot of it's frustrating too. A lot of it is just straight frustration. They're dealing with the VA. They get piled upon with so many they get hit with so many documents that they have to do. Now, a lot of it too, the veteran community, we're also our intermingling within ourselves, is that we get frustrated when we don't realize. I mean, I've walked vets through processes working or doing this stuff for U.S. Army WTF moments, and I've walked veterans through paper processes or digital paperwork processes that after I've done talking to them, they're like, oh shit, I didn't realize it was that easy to do. A lot of them are educated in that, and it makes me mad how there's like literally no education. It like takes guys like you to come on here to tell us shit that to me I think is simple to fix.
And that's actually the probably one of the most frustrating parts is, when people, you understand everything that's going on with the case now, but when we stand in a VA hospital and I see a guy that's walking by and I'd look at him and he's probably late 20s, maybe early 30s. I'm looking at him and I'm going, okay, let's see if we can buy this guy lunch or something. And we sit down and we start talking, and I start talking to him about the case, and I'm chatting him up, and I ask him, have you heard anything about the case? Well, no. Are you fucking living under a rock? Like, right. What are you doing?
Right.
Literally, it's all over Facebook. Well, I don't have Facebook. Great. Well, it's on TV. Other vets, and other vets are talking about this shit. So it's not something that's in a foreign language. It's not something that's hidden for everybody to find. You just have to, something that was told to me not too long ago, when I was actually doing my first event for homeless veterans, which until it was said, I don't think I ever really paid attention to it. But we always bitch about stuff that's really shitty, like the VA. It sucks, right? So we don't go get treatment because the VA sucks. Well, so I don't go get treatment because the VA sucks, but now my life starts to deteriorate. Right. So what do I start doing now? Well, now I start bitching about my life. Well, now I don't have any money. Well, I can't have a job. Well, I can't
exactly.
have a house and a car.
Well, why can't
I have any of those things?
Yeah.
Well, because I don't want to go see the VA. Well, why don't you want to go see the VA? Because they suck.
Because again.
Point,
exactly.
You got to be willing to accept the fact that you're going to have to embrace the suck.
Exactly.
We've all done it.
Right.
We all went through this shit. However long we serve for, just do it and get it over with. And if you don't want to do it alone, great. Go work with an organization. Let them help you do it. A lot of times, most of these organizations will do everything for you. All you got to do is sign the dotted line again. So it drives me absolutely nuts to hear a lot of these guys that they complain about not getting treatment and all this kind of stuff. But at some point, the reality of the situation is you've got to be willing to take ownership for that. You've got to be willing to stand up and say, okay, you know what? I need help. Or you've got to have a girlfriend that pushes you and kicks you hard enough to make you go to the VA and then cusses them out. So, whatever you got to do. But, eventually at some point you've got to realize it on your own and you've got to do something about it. And that's actually how I got started in this whole case. I actually called up a different law firm, and when she started talking, I told her to shut her face. And I was going to ask a bunch of questions, and depending on how she answered would depend on whether or not the conversation continued.
So why, real quick, and this is the last question. Why isn't there an updated test? Why hasn't there been a? What is the difference between the? This is actually a multi-tiered question on the same subject. A, why is the VA, why are they using that stupid ass test? And B, is there what are the results of the other ones compared to that one? And have they made any decisions to change the test?
So no, there are no decisions.
All no. You're like, no, like all fucking no, Ken. Shut up.
Yeah, there are no decisions to change the test right now. I know that is something that's being spoken about. But as of right now, what they use is, I believe it's called the Maryland test, which is, again, the most asinine hearing test ever known to man. But again, the reason that they use that test is because, let's just say that the average person is 5 feet tall. Well, if I hang a $100 bill 5 feet 6 inches off the ground, most people can walk by and grab it. And the same concept with this. If I put a bunch of people in the military, they're going to be around guns. I know they're going to have hearing loss because they're going to deal with shit that goes bang. They're going to deal with stuff that goes boom. They're going to have some type of hearing loss. It's the same concept. We know that most people are going to have hearing loss in the military. So now we have to adopt a test that's not going to be so that everybody can draw a disability on that. Because here's the other thing that you have to think about. When you go see the VA, who does the VA or who does that doctor have the best interest of? Is it you or the government? I can tell you right now, it probably ain't going to be you, because they work for the government, who's going to pay you a disability. So they're going to do whatever they can do to minimize the government's cost so that at the end of the day, they can be paid more. And again, I've got no evidence to back that up. That's just my own personal opinion. I know probably half the world would agree with me. But the reality of the situation is, when you go see a VA doctor for a C&P exam to get some type of disability, that doctor does not have your best interest at heart. And most people know that because when they talk about secondary claims, with stuff that is service connected, the VA doesn't want to hear it. Now I've got to go back and I've got to file 10 other claims to get that secondary disability filed because you didn't want to hear it the first time when I brought it up at my initial consult.
That's I was about to say, do you have any insider information? Is there a whistleblower for you guys that, like, from the VA? Has any VA come out? Any person from the VA that's come out and said that that test is skewed and it's messed up? I mean, I know we're like freaking adding more time, but I don't give a shit. I'm just curious because it's one of those things. It's like we never get the ins and the outs of those types of tests. We never get anybody that has, late breaking news where a whistleblower has come out of the VA system to totally debunk the hearing test. Is there anybody that, like, have you heard anything through the grapevine about that?
It's stuff that's being spoken about right now. And from the last that I've heard on it, it's made its way up through several important chains, through the VFW, through the American Legion. I know Wounded Warrior Project has had a big hand in that as well. But a lot of these organizations, and what they're finding is, if you were to go see a private audiologist or a private ENT, it's not difficult for them to diagnose hearing loss. Now, it might not be to the point where you need hearing aids and, they've got to do brain surgery and all this kind of stuff, but it's not hard for them to diagnose hearing loss. And it's also not hard for them to diagnose tinnitus. The difference is when you do it through the VA, they're doing it at a level of which you're going to be paid for the rest of your life. And so that's the difference in the quality of care. When you look at, a private physician, they're going to tell you all this stuff is wrong with you, but they're not going to have to pay you for it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You pay them to find out what's wrong with you. When you go to the VA, it doesn't quite work that way. We're going in there because we have, service-connected disabilities. So we're going in there with under free treatment. Well, they can't just give that stuff away. And because of that, that's what makes a lot of these disabilities so hard to get, is because there's got to be a price tag attached to everything. And they can't pay for it if everything is free.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Well, we appreciate you coming on, John. This is awesome. This is a lot, dude. I could keep asking you questions, but
I need to come back. We can figure out a time to keep this going.
Well, I was about to say, we'll I'll tell you what. We'll talk after once we send you off. So in other words, we're going to go to break, and then we're going to kick you off the air, but then we'll talk off air. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No worries,
All right, cool.
no worries.
All right, guys, this is John Coleman from Quack Daniel. Hey, John, thank you so much for coming on for the fans, and they really appreciate all this information you got us, man.
Absolutely, guys. I certainly appreciate it. Again, if you guys want any more information on the 3M lawsuit or the claim, if you want to sign up for it, go to 3msignup.com.
All right, awesome. All right, we're going to take a break right quick, and we're right back. So everybody stand by and get some shots.
It's my waking up and fading out. Cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars they're meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feeling though the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space the cotton grows tall. Out on the river when the rain starts to fall. Got that motorboat running fast as I can. Smoke in my mouth, cold beer in my hand. Born on the Delta on the Mississippi. Hunting and fishing was the life made for me. Country boy living, born and raised in the South. If you don't like my style, keep my name out your mouth. Down in Louisiana, might talk a little slow, but I'm proud of who I am. Fought for the flag, that's that army in me. And if you don't like that, well, if you don't like that, now if you don't like that, you can kiss my Dixie ass. Just a kid, how to work the field and how to use my fist, how to stand tall and how to be a man. Raised me up with pride to be a southern man. Country ain't country once Johnny Cash died. It's all pop singers talking about the moonlight. I've said it once before, born and raised in the South. If you don't like my style, keep my name out your mouth. That rebel in me, and if you don't like that, now if you don't like that, now if you don't like that, you can kiss my Dixie ass. That's right. Down in Louisiana, I might talk a little slow, but I'm proud of who I am. Fought for the flag, that's that army in me. And if you don't like that, well, if you don't like that, now if you don't like that, you can kiss my Dixie ass. Now if you don't like that, if you don't like that, you can kiss my Dixie ass. try to fight it. What you've been waiting for, there's no running away. We paint the mirror.
Oh man, and we're back. Sorry about that. We were in some serious business, man. That was like some crazy shit. We went to go rifle through the snack fridge, and Spanky got some snacks. Thank you, appreciate it. We need to refill the Twinkies and the Little Debbie's cakes, the roll fudgy thing rolls there. So, yeah. So welcome back. I figure since we had a long break, I'll give you guys some extra time on the mic. I know you guys don't mind that. I mean, I don't mind talking to y'all. But I'm here to talk about this atrocity of what's going on with the Navy. Man, okay, so the Navy just released a statement, or somebody through the Stars and Stripes. And again, we want to thank our guest for coming on, and really appreciate him, John Coleman from Quack Daniel. We're planning stuff. I love it. But anyways, so currently right now, the Navy released a statement. Well, not the Navy. The Navy's telling the fleet. Is that what you call it? We say formations or something like that, or isn't that what the Navy? Weren't you in the Navy shipwreck? Is that why they call you shipwreck? Or I'm sorry, did I?
Oh no, hell no, I was never in the Navy.
I'm just fucking with you. Okay, so the Navy released a statement through their PAOs and immediately said that you better take all the podcast recordings down of the acting SecNav talking about what he did to sack the commander of the skipper of the USS Theodore Roosevelt. Well, I informed the individuals that tweeted that out that, hey, you know what? Laughs in WTF Nation Radio and the WTF Nation currently podcasting at the moment. So, yeah. So right now, yeah. So that's what it is. We're not we podcast it out. You can go on WTF Nation Radio's Facebook page and look at Task and Purpose article right there, and it's up there. You want to listen to it? We'll play them shits. I don't give a shit. But yeah,
It's on the internet. It's never gone.
But it's pretty much up there. So the what I'll read from that is that please engage with your sailors. This was what released on board, and let them know that they need person's permission to record them and post it online. If they posted the SecNav's 1MC, which is like the all-call speaker system, remarks on social media, they need to take it down immediately. I know emotions are running high, but posting negative comments on social media regarding senior leaders will not help our current situation. We want to continue to have the support of the Naval Base Guam and the government of Guam for all off-ship lodging and amenities, along with big Navy support. We need to be respectful online and remain out of the negative media spotlight regarding senior Navy leadership. Bashing a senior leader online will not rally the troops. We, the Rough Riders of the TR, the Theodore, that's like the new hotness. That's the TR. They call it TR. I mean, you been on the TR? Yeah, man. Well, you serve in TR. I serve in TR. Are better than this, and we need to show our families back home that we can and will rise above. TR strong. Hashtag TR alone together. Is it me, or isn't that what Captain Brett Crozier tried to do? Was trying to take care of the families, to reassure that the families were good to go from all the COVIDs that was happening? Isn't that what happened? I mean,
apparently it seemed.
Yeah, I just felt like, it just kind of like seemed that the drama of all that stuff. I'm just saying. I mean,
that speech he was talking about taking care of the troops, taking care of his sailors, and taking care of the military. That's what we're supposed to do, but that's what the officer did. So he should report back to duty.
Yeah, he should. Well, yeah. So currently, right now, all the news wires are going nuts about this, and I guess D. Treasy now is going to get involved. Yeah. So now the statement has been released. I got the statement from SecNav, and quote, I want to apologize to the Navy for my recent comments to the crew of the TR. Let me be clear. I do not think that Captain Brett Crozier is naive nor stupid. I think, and always believed him to be the opposite. We pick our carrier commanding officers with great care. Captain Crozier is smart and passionate. I believe precisely because he is not naive and stupid. That he sent his alarming email with the intention of getting it to the public domain in an effort to draw attention to this. So in other words, he's still not fucking admitting to it. I apologize for any confusion this choice of words may have caused. I also want to apologize directly to Captain Crozier, his family, and the entire crew of the Theodore Roosevelt for any pain my remarks may have caused. They and the entire Navy have my full commitment, and I will continue to help get the TR back to full health and back to sea where we can move forward beyond this unfortunate situation. You know what? What he should have done, and I think some of the public affairs people could attest to this, what he should have done is he should have called him first before he made a statement. He should have called him first. Called him up.
Didn't want a lifeline a friend, you know.
But, right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he should have called him first and then said, "I have spoken to Captain Crozier, as an information operations individual here for the WTF Nation. I can assist in that aspect." You would have been. It'd have been better off for you to have done that. Call the family and call him and apologize, and then say in a statement, I apologize to the family of Brett Crozier and wish them luck and blah, blah, blah. Fair seas, high winds, whatever, up we go. Accelerate your life, whatever the Navy thing is. Love you, U.S. Navy WTF Moments. Thank you for hanging out and joining us in the family. So, I in a way, I'm kind of like, yeah. I believe precisely that he is not naive and stupid, that he sent his alarming email with the intention of getting it into the public domain. Dude, no, he didn't. That wasn't the intention. I think it was leaked out. Somebody leaked it out. The Navy is conducting an investigation. Leak it out. I mean, is that? Am I reading that wrong? Do I need to get a lawsuit for glasses now, or I need to bring John back here to say my eyesight got messed up too?
Well, what I'm wondering is when they release people from the military, isn't there like a little time period, a buffer where they can run a jag and say, "Hey, I'm being released. I need you to represent me since I'm not going to be in the Army or military anymore"?
You're talking about relieved from duty, but not relieved from the military. He was just relieved of duty.
Right.
So he's still in the military.
Okay.
But yes, he'll be afforded some rights, but I don't know. I mean, as swift as the Navy did on this, and of course, I am not a naval veteran like I don't have any. I don't have no sailor experience. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe a listener out there from the Navy has expertise on this.
We got any squids out there that want? Yeah, you got any former members that squab the deck? I'm trying to throw all the Navy terms. Anchors away, squab the deck, polish the bell,
hit the brass,
rang the bell, walk the gangplank, avast your matey, yarg. Now, serious, if you guys got there that I'm just joking.
Do they even try to bump rank down from them or anything?
No, they don't. They don't do that. No, it's just a job. It's just a duty.
Away.
Yeah, it's just duty. So he's still a captain. A captain in the Navy is the same as a colonel in the Army. So that the pay grade is 06. It's officer 06. So a captain in the Navy is not the same as a captain in the Army. The captain in the Army is still wet behind the ears, not even been in, unless they've been in OCS or something like that. They've been in, whatever, not even 6 years, 7 years, and, little whippersnappers, captains, and they're 03s. A colonel in the Army is an 06. Their equivalent naval counterpart is a captain. And so that's how, so when you hear captain, yard, captain, well, there you go. So when someone says, "I'm a captain in the Navy," that means they're a colonel equivalent of the Army. If you say, "I'm a captain,"
or responsibilities and duties or something.
Yeah, dude. I mean, a naval dude. It's an aircraft carrier. He's a commander of an aircraft carrier. That's a fucking responsibility right there.
Yeah. True.
He's got a bunch of jarheads and freaking. He's got an air wing on that stuff. And all. Again, I don't do any naval gazing, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm throwing.
You don't drop the soap.
I don't. Yeah. I don't. Wait, is it the Navy that does that? I thought it was the Marine Corps. Who eats the crayons?
Well, don't the Navy get powder soap? It takes longer to pick it up.
That's been like the inter-service rivalry for forever and a day. I tell you, hey,
I know.
why you got it?
good shit.
Why you got to diss on Tom Cruise, man? Why? dude, fuck it.
Speaking of that,
yeah,
delay that movie.
Fuck, dude, they delayed. Okay, look.
I was looking forward to that one, and they freaking delayed.
U.S. Army WTF members, WTF Nation Radio has been invited to a lot of events, and I guarantee it had to do with Maverick, and I'm pissed off. So let me tell you the story about this, and I'm sure our Navy friends at the Navy, we have who was it that I spoke to? Who was it that I spoke to?
Who haven't you spoke to?
What? Why does it got to be like that?
Speak to everyone.
I have to speak to everybody.
Probably shorter if you haven't spoken to.
Yeah, I speak to a lot of people because I got to. That's part of the job. I spoke to the member of the Naval Public Affairs. We were invited out. U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. I'm gonna go ahead and just bust that out too. I'll kind of ruin it. That was a surprise that was supposed to be happening. I was supposed to get some individuals to come out with me, and myself and CQ. The plan was we were going to go to an aircraft carrier, and we're going to get involved in some of that stuff. So
and have man overboard is what you're saying with CQ.
So that's the surprise. That's some of the big secrets and stuff that I can let that one leak out a bit. But yeah, we were supposed to. We were supposed to join the Navy in hanging out with their crew for that type of stuff. We were going to go out to an aircraft carrier. You remember when I asked you guys about going on an aircraft carrier and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that was going to be a surprise show. I would have been able to take some people out. See, when I say take people out, I don't mean like shoot them or something like that or throw them overboard. I mean like take them out with us, like invite maybe some close friends and family to come out to go jump on an aircraft carrier type thing. That was the invite. Oh, you thought I was gonna throw CQ overboard and watch him float away or some shit? You're mean, dude.
Hey, you never know. Shit happens.
But yeah, so U.S. Navy. Thanks for the love. We are still interested. It just sucks that we were going to do that. So, Rear Admiral Charlie Brown, that's his name. He is the Navy Chief of Information, and he's a good dude. And so we were like freaking excited. We were excited, man. I was like, oh my God, guys, check this out. Once we talked to them, I couldn't shut up. I was like all happy and stuff. I had to learn like Navy terms. I want to make sure I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to go on and get on an aircraft carrier and. Do you hear what ICE did? Do you hear what ICE? You know what? Ooh, you know what? I wonder what aircraft carrier we're supposed to be on.
Oh, let's not drop that.
No, I don't.
Happen later.
I don't know. Ooh, that would have been. Wouldn't that have been crazy if it had been like on the Theodore Roosevelt? And I'd have been like, who was the person that was Rear Admiral? It was Rear Admiral Paula Dunn is who I spoke to. So it was Admiral Paula. It was Rear Admiral Paula. She was the one that invited us out. Say, hey, can you get you out to an aircraft carrier? I'm like, what? Whoa, what was that? Say that again louder, please. So we were excited. So that was one of the things, and it has to do with Maverick, and it pissed me off because now they delayed the release of Maverick until December. This was going to be a baller ass year, man. Well, it still is a baller ass year. I don't know.
You get invited to one of those shows to do a show at Fort Benning or something with aerosol or airborne.
Yeah, about to say, don't say Fort Benning. If you say Fort Benning and aerosol, yeah, we did. Yeah, okay. So you just want to go ahead and release all the visits that we were supposed to have done.
We didn't do something like that.
We were supposed to have done it, man, but all this COVID drama.
Go to Camp Rucker, get on a chopper.
Yeah, Camp Rucker. Camp Rucker. Bring some.
I've had too many dreams.
Yeah, I'm about to say Camp Rucker. Fort Rucker is the home of aviation, and Fort Benning is not the home of air assault. It is the home of it is where airborne school is at.
I know. I was making fun.
I'm about to say why everybody knows that airborne is a way of life and air assault is just a badge, but that's just me. That's why our I don't know. I think we're gonna get. I don't know. Are we gonna get in trouble because we talked about Navy stuff on here and.
Well, Spanky has a good idea. We should get in the Air Force and see if we could get in a fighter jet.
Well, that was part of the stuff, man. That's why we're like that was some of the secret stuff. That was some of the surprise things we were gonna have. That would have been awesome. Watching.
Is that where Jose is?
I don't. You know what?
Ooh. Work out those deals or something.
You know what? That's what he. You know what? Jose and Flash. I'm telling you, man. This whole not being there where they're supposed to be there. It's kind of getting suspicious, man. But anyways, yeah. So we were doing some stuff like that. We were planning out with our sister services in the veteran community, and we were going to go out. You guys are probably going to watch me and CQ, get catapulted off a fucking F-18, puking in the back or something. Yeah,
I'll be the cameraman.
Yeah, but I'm about to say, put a GoPro camera and have me in a freaking F-18 going out of the freaking off the catapult. The next thing you know, how was the flight, Ice? What was I flying? And it'll be like the pilot will probably say, yeah, he passed out as soon as we. As soon as we pulled some G's, he passed out all the way, and he was just, I don't know. I thought he sounded like he was snoring, but I looked back and he wasn't doing shit. So he didn't wake up.
5 seconds. That's all he needed.
Exactly. He kept saying something about get me off this thing. He tried to eject. I shouldn't say that. I mean, I was looking forward to that, man. That would have been fun. It was going to be cool. WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army, WTF Moments was going to get was going to get treated by the Navy. We still accept. Sir, ma'am, we still accept the invitation. So once we work those details out, I'll let that cat out of the bag because we were supposed to have done that pretty soon. But now it's not gonna be December because of Maverick's. I'm upset. I'm hurt. Waited 35 years for that movie to freaking come out, and now it's like what? All them COVIDs. So, anyways, but that would have been fun. Bring some ear pro. That's the thing. My hearing's out. I don't need it.
It's just a 3M ear pro, though.
Exactly. It'd be like, gee, I was just like kind of walking around with no ear pro on, and there was a freaking exhaust next to his head. CQ was, they were goofing off on the freaking the visitors' quarters are just below catapult. I've never been on an aircraft carrier before. I've never been. That'd have been like I said, that'd have been awesome. Interesting. It would have been an interesting event, but like I said, so thanks, Shipwreck for being a Debbie Downer and reminding me about that. Yeah, it was. This was pretty. It was going to be a pretty cool event. Man, God, I've been freaking. It'd been badass. It'd been cool. Sitting on the aircraft carrier deck watching Top Gun or New Pop. You know what I mean? Just hanging out there with some friends and family and some of the crew. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Aircraft Carrier of Excellence.
I think they, if I remember correctly, the plane that they used for that movie, they just retired it or gave it to the Blue Angels or something.
What's
like
that? Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I will wait until all that stuff happens because I don't want to over geek myself because then I won't shut up about it. I won't shut up about it. CQ when I said, hey man, we're gonna do this, and he's like, ah, me and him were both like, oh my god, yeah, exactly, oh my god, So, we put Baby Ice in a freaking helicopter too. See what happens. But
y'all were like two girls in a candy shop.
Oh my god, we were like, hey bro, check this out. No way, yeah, no way, yeah. We were a little like going back and forth. No way, yeah. Cos and Mud Puppy were all like straight up. But at any rate, yes, this is a good event. I was looking forward to it. What other event? Like I was telling John. I got invited out to go do some several openings and stuff like that. There's, like I said, this whole COVID thing just jacked it all up. Stupid coronavirus, man. Wash your damn hands, people.
Kick it in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if people just wash their hands and stop dicking around with this stuff, we can stop the spread and we can break the curve, or we can whatever. Then that's it. Then we'll be done. But instead, people are still going out, freaking. Not doing social distancing. Units aren't doing social distancing. It's kind of frustrating.
Well, you know why no one washed their hands, right?
Well, what's that?
Because the sign in the bathroom says all employees wash hands. It doesn't say
what?
All visitors wash hands. It just said employees wash hands. Go to any bathroom or restaurant out there.
I'm about to say, dude, you're like. I'm glad
all employees wash hands.
I'm glad that was like the biggest dad joke, even for me being older than you, as a dad joke. That was a dad joke, grown. Man.
Oh, man.
So, anyways, well, shit. Like I said, thank you guys and gals for hanging out. I appreciate you guys giving us a little bit more time to goof off with us and on the break. Let's see what we got going on. So tomorrow we got we have Mark Baker. Mark Baker, dude, from freaking Private Murphy, and he's going to be on like tomorrow with CQ. I can't wait. This is like he is the he is the legend. He is the legend. No, is it not going to be tomorrow? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's going to be the 21st. You're right. He's going to be in a couple weeks. He's going to be coming on with CQ. But you guys remember Lieutenant General Thomas Simons? Remember he was going to come on here and talk about some Army people strategy? Yeah. That's all changing. That's changing. No. Hang on. The subject that we're talking about is changing, but the individual is still coming on. So I'm just won't do this right now. So it might change again because there's a lot of stuff going on. Lieutenant General, we're gonna have a 3-star coming on. Spanky, quick, get the flag. We got to get a 3-star flag now because we had a bunch of 2-stars and all that. And I don't know, maybe him coming on the show could get him a 4-star. You never know. That's just like we got MGD. Another star. So 16 April on Sergeant's Time, we're going to have Lieutenant General Thomas Simons. He is the Army Deputy Chief of Staff. He is the Army G1. He is the ultimate in approval authorities, and is going to give us all the manpower and personnel plans and programs discussions on this COVID stuff. So what I would do is I would ask you, the WTF Nation, to get us questions and send it to contact at WTF Nation Radio or contact at armywtfmoments.com. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of questions coming out, and he's going to be coming on here to discuss all things personnel when it comes to this COVID stuff, especially because there's a lot of conflicting information that individual installations are coming out on their own, and he's going to come in here to dispel some rumors. Stop moves, PCS entitlements, promotions, retention, face masks.
So I was going to say, is he going to wear his when he comes on?
No, he doesn't have to worry about coming on because we are social distanced like crazy. You don't have to worry about that shit here at WTF Nation Radio. Everyone here. Yeah, exactly. And so again, that would be the show for you guys and gals to get all your questions out. Drop it to those emails, and like I said, or just inbox WTF Nation Radio, or inbox U.S. Army WTF Moments on their Facebook pages. And you'll be able to get those answered because we're right now have gotten so many freaking questions and a lot of things of what you've seen. And again, yes, this Thursday on this episode of Sergeant's Time coming up, we are going to be talking about the same thing we did last Thursday. Screenshots. We're going to have me and Judge are getting together to see if we can have some more Judge's Corner from the desk of the WTF Judge. So yes, all the screenshots that you've been seeing, we have more screenshots, by the way, of commands and commanders doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and a lot of sergeant majoring, behoovist-fearing type of stuff. So it's going to be interesting. And then on the 21st of April, Tuesday, is going to be Mark Baker from Charlie Mike Comics, who also does Private Murphy with CQ. He's a retired U.S. Army Master Sergeant. Private Murphy cartoons, been in the Army Times for 8 years, starting in 2000, and after 10 years, he's back doing Murphy cartoons. I love it because that's like a... When he came on to shoot the shit with me and Spanky, we were fangirling too. On 28 April, we have comedian PJ Walsh. He is the guy that actually mentored CQ. So we can blame this guy for his bad jokes. No, just kidding. Returning guest, PJ is a Navy veteran, is now a comedian. He's performed 20-plus tours for the troops in Iraq and Afghanistan, as toured the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. He's also a partner with the Organization of Armed Services, Arts, and Partnership. So when he comes on, he's going to be, hanging out. This is going to be, like I said, these are all CQ's guests, not mine. So CQ's going to be rocking it. Don't forget, we have, of course, Sergeant's Time on Thursday. We have Friday and Saturday are going to be looking like maybe that's going to be the start of a new show. Either day, I have to work with the new host on this stuff. And then Sundays, kicking it with Kaz and Al. Monday edition back again with me. And then Tuesday again, of course, with Pop Culture Warrior. I think that's it. I think we're all ready to rock and roll. We're all ready to kick it. I'm just trying to think. What's left? What else you got next? What's the dealio? I mean, what you got? You got anything, man?
Man, I think you covered it all. Shit.
Well, I mean, we were on a long break because there was me and John were like talking a lot with each other, so. You were just like going off on new ideas and stuff like that. Anyways, with that, if you guys and gals don't have any questions, we're done. This is it. This is the 3 hours. There we go, 3 hours. I think this is good. But anyways, Thank you guys and gals for coming up and joining us on the Monday edition. Do you have anything to say, Shipwreck? You got anything you want to wrap? You got anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to say at all?
I don't want to steal everyone else's stuff, you know.
No, I'm good. Okay.
I'm good.
All right. All right.
I got so many.
All right, y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining us, and shouts.
Intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now they say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport, now sit back, relax, and watch us through the Hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. Though critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, dum, 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 ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, dum, 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 dum. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space
What is this Facebook Live? I've never heard of this shit.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.